Is this a new microphone system?
I'm using the one that we normally use. That's ready for my Saturday meeting. Different meetings. Yes, we are.
Okay, welcome everyone to this meeting of the Finance and General Purposes Committee of Sandwich Town Council. First item on the agenda is apologies for absence received.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, we have apologies from Councillor Black, travel commitment, Councillor D. Carter, P. Carter, a mayoral commitment, and Councillor D. Carter, mayor's commitment. Thank you.
But we are cool.
Yeah.
Item 2 is declarations of interest. To receive any declarations of disclosable pecuniary interest from members in respect of business to be transacted on the agenda. Anything? No. Thank you. Item 3 is minutes of the Finance and General Purposes Committee. To receive and approve the minutes of the Finance and General Purposes Committee held on the 19th of June 2024. To consider any matters arising from those minutes not covered elsewhere in this agenda. Do we have any?
So I'm happy to propose comment, but just one comment. I know that we do have a number of actions outstanding. It would be good if we could come to this meeting, so I don't know whether we could make sure that happens from the next meeting onwards.
Yeah. Is that something serious?
Assassination attempt.
Okay, yeah, it has been pointed out to me actually by Christina that we did have an action log on this agenda, and I think we should restore that because there are certain items which need to be followed up because that comes to the next meeting. Because there's things on there like the review of terms of reference, standing orders, which we've heard from the previous meeting. What is that?
Well, in the case plan with balloons, I assume it's a balloon
Apologies to anyone who might be watching this online, but we're experiencing some very loud noise from the forecourt. Okay. So, Councillor Shuker, you're proposing that we receive and accept the minutes. Do we have a seconder? All those in favour? Okay. I wasn't present, so I was abstaining. He wasn't. Okay. Item 4, public participation. 20-minute session set aside for members of the public to make representations at the meeting in respect of business on the agenda. Do you have any requests?
No requests.
No requests, thank you. Item 5, business continuity plan and complaints procedure. These are attachments 2A and 2B. Town clerk is sharing the draft business continuity plan and the draft complaints procedure with the committee for consideration and comments. These came to the HR committee last week and we agreed that they really fall under the remit of this committee. So do you want to present these?
Yeah, that's fine. So I've come to the meeting with this draft complaints procedure and the draft business continuity plan. As Councillor said, they were deferred from the Human Resources Committee. This is a proposal that the documents are recommended for the Town Council meeting in July. The complaints procedure has been updated following comments from Councillor Black and is revised for consideration again. So most of the business continuity plan, the venue is highlighted in yellow but is yet to be confirmed. But I have made tentative inquiries with the venue. I'm hoping to have confirmation by the next meeting. So the recommendations are the Finance and General Purposes Committee, if you can please recommend the Council adopt the complaints procedure, the business continuity plan, and obviously any comments or feedback are welcome. Thank you.
So first of all, should we look at the business continuity plan? It seems to me that this is fairly comprehensive and really covers all the angles in terms of incidents or problems in our service. Any comments or?
Complaints.
Any comments?
I was just going to say that some gaps around phone numbers. I mean, the whole point about business continuity plans is if there is an emergency or an incident to deal with, we're able to contact all councillors to keep them informed. So could we just drop in those other numbers? And
Yes.
that might be because they're not being provided. But if the gaps are filling up, brilliant. But that's it.
Would it be useful to have email addresses there as well? I suppose phone numbers are more immediate.
I think email would be good as well, because if it turns the networks down, and you have an alternative.
Yes, well, an awful lot of this boils down to the town clerk. And one of the problems likely that something has happened to the town clerk.
Yes.
So I do wonder what the business continuity plan has to say about that, because it doesn't make sense.
Yeah. I think could we include a section to say if the town clerk is indisposed that the assistant town clerk takes the lead.
My preference would be to say the newly appointed, hopefully soon property manager will take the lead. That would be, yeah.
Is that the I would have thought somebody called the assistant town clerk would be more.
He's full-time.
Yeah, that was fine, yeah. The assistant clerk's part-time, and obviously this new role, their whole remit is about the buildings. So I think it'd be more appropriate if they were the backup person.
But, I mean, business continuity is also dependent on people, it's not just dependent on buildings.
Yep.
So, you know, what have we got in place for long-term sickness, for example, from an absolutely person of the organisation? Isn't that something that should be covered by business continuity? I mean, I've never encountered one before, so I don't know, but that's what
There are provisions for standing orders for long-term management so that's covered under the standing orders. There's also the issue of location. I'm not sure where we recruit it. It might be important to have somebody who's visiting himself.
Could I suggest that we just amend this slightly to say that the town clerk takes the lead? In the town clerk's absence, the property manager, and in his absence, the assistant town clerk. So there's a cascade. We assume that all three of them will not be away at the same time.
because there's different lines.
I think so, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, to some extent it is covered under step 2, item 3, identifying the change of staff.
Yeah.
So maybe that's the place where we need to put that in. So that it's not in conflict. We're on page, the top of page 8.
Step 2.
I mean, would it make sense just to tweak this at the beginning and say the incident response leadership team will consist of the mayor and deputy mayor of the council, town clerk, and then just add a clause saying in the absence of any of those key personnel, their deputies
Yeah.
will step in, or in the case of officers, the property manager and then the assistant town clerk. So, for example,
finance and
yeah,
general
so the
purposes.
deputy chair, who happens to be the mayor, let's say the mayor and the deputy mayor were away and I was away all at the same time. We need to make substitutes. Makes sense.
Yeah, so do you want me to draft something that covers those eventualities? I think I mean, there is a huge team here at the Guildhall, so we're obviously hit a point where there isn't anybody else. But sorry, Councillor Pennington, I just want to pick up on what you, I didn't quite catch what you said earlier, which point you wanted to clarify or covered.
Well, I was saying that firstly, there are provisions of standing orders. If clerk is aware, I can't remember the exact provision, but I remember it being covered. And the other was that we might need people who are on the location.
Yeah, on site, thank you.
I imagine, well, you probably don't need to detail it, but take a copy of everything, such as you have an emergency file, if everything is offline. Is that something you have to detail in the policy?
We've got a suitcase in the building that's an emergency suitcase. Yeah. Probably not.
I'd like to propose accepting this subject to the alterations.
All those in favour? So next is the complaints policy. Again, are there any comments or? Anyone?
Yes, I'm happy to propose.
Okay, all those in favour? Is that the police?
Demonstrating.
Responsible citizens. That's what we need. Okay, thank you for that. Next item is 6, allotments update. Attachment 3, town clerk to share an interim report on progress with both allotment sites, which includes actions from the meeting with plot holders. Committee is invited to receive and note the report. So my reading of this is that there are currently 8 plots which are requiring cultivation, and a further 5 which have been given up and have been allocated. So 13 in total which are not cultivated at Black Lane.
So Black Lane, inspection completed, photographs taken, 8 plots identified as requiring cultivation. Letters were sent to those plots on the 19th of June, given until the 19th of July to sufficiently cultivate their plots. Then talks about Sundown.
There's 5 vacant plots as well.
Yes, 5 Black Lane, yeah, 5 and 2 at the Sundown. I've got an actual update for you on the Sundown plots. They've actually been let, so those are now let, those 2. Also, there's been in block, that's the Black Lane allotments was tampered with, it was glued, and that has been repaired. So just as a further update. Would you like to read the report?
Yeah.
No, okay.
So the baseline is that all of the plots at Black Lane and Sundown Road are now tenanted.
That's what we're working towards, yes. Yes. But the update is that Sundown tenancy for the 2 vacants, they're now completely filled, and we've got 1 that has a letter about non-cultivation, and that person will be leaving. So we're in the process of letting that last plot as well. So that will be Sundown completely let.
So it's good that the vacant overgrown plots are being trimmed.
Yes.
I think that's a great help to the plot holders, because there's nothing worse than taking on a plot that's completely overgrown. So could we, any other comments on this?
Yeah, I would, I haven't got any problem with what's in the report, it's what's not in the report by way of a kind of a financial summary. I would like to see something, on a financial report which says, is there any arrears in terms of rents for the last year? What's the revenue for this year? is it paid? Has it been received? And then there's obviously some expenses that we're incurring, paying for skips and water and stuff like that. So overall, is the allotments washing its face, for want of a better description?
So the last couple of meetings, there have been reports to the committee with all the financial breakdown. I didn't bring that to this meeting because it's been the previous two meetings. To this one, finance and general purposes. So I can bring that to the next committee meeting, no problem at all. And what happens with the income generated for the allotments, that is ring-fenced for the allotments. So it doesn't go into the pot of general fund, it actually is ring-fenced for the allotments.
So how much is in that ring-fenced pot then?
I can't tell you.
No, but you know, because when you've got a report, it would be nice if the report was comprehensive.
I think the meeting we had with allotment holders a few weeks ago, action has been taken since then, and I think we agreed that this would just be an interim report based on what the assistant town clerk has done since that meeting, and that in the autumn we'll have a more comprehensive report setting out the financial situation. From memory, the annual income is around between 4,000 and 5,000, because it's around 1,800 rental. And from that we have to pay security, skips, water, any other general maintenance. So I think they do certainly wash their face. And taxpayers aren't subsidising. But I think in the autumn we can have a report which sets that out in greater detail. Okay. The key thing is to get them occupied and support the people, and I think we need a longer term strategy about a management committee, a building, promoting them more widely. I put a thing on Facebook this week, trying to encourage people to take up allotment. I don't know if there's been any interest, but it's something we need to promote much more widely.
No, would it be possible that that report comes actually from the council as a chair of the allotments committee as opposed to town hall, just obviously sharing the responsibilities is always a good thing to do, and particularly the chair is leading around this. Have you got a chair?
We don't have a
You don't have a chair. You don't have a committee in that sense.
we have a unofficial
With a couple of councils
working group.
Yeah.
It's never been formally constituted.
Okay.
And
That's right.
that's why I would like to see us setting up a management group of plot holders rather than us trying to manage it from this building. It makes more sense.
Quick question. Going further, looking at dividing large plots, is that something that's going to be looked at in the future?
Yeah, that's the plan. I think if we can get them all let to start with, and we've got a base to work from. But certainly that is something that's very successful elsewhere, because some of these plots are huge as well, and there's a difference in sizes of these plots as well. It seems a bit of a strange situation. They're not very uniform in the size, so I think that's something. But at the moment, we just want to get people, looking after them. Yeah.
Some of them are huge. One, which my sister had was probably a third of an acre, and others are maybe a fifth of that.
Is it the same amount paid?
Yeah, I think so.
Yes.
So there's no logic to it. I think the other thing we need to invest in longer term is fencing between plots, because the boundaries in many cases are very indistinct, and you don't know where your boundary is. It can cause friction, neighbour disputes, etc. Okay, so are we happy to notice the report? All those in favour? Item 7 is markets update. Town clerk to share a verbal report on the Thursday and Saturday markets, including number of stalls and the net income. Committee is invited to receive and note the report.
Thank you, Chair. So this is a brief report. Basically, we are still building on numbers. Tomorrow we have 13 stalls. We have had up to 15 or 16 on a Thursday. On a Saturday as well, we ended up about a core of about 8 stalls at the moment. But again, that has been a bit more than that some Saturdays, because those that visit notice that we had a horse box, twice we had horse boxes on the forecourt. Also this Saturday we've got teak furniture in situ as well, so they'll be doing a sale on the forecourt at the same time as the market. So hopefully that will increase footfall for both parties. When it comes to the net income, it's approximately, I think it's up to about £200 now each night for the Thursday market, certainly. But I haven't got those figures in front of me, so I'm sorry I can't share any more details on the finances. I can bring that to the September meeting.
Any comments?
Yeah, obviously I'm actively involved in the Saturday market, particularly now. Originally the Thursday market, I've turned my attention to there. So in terms of income, Julie's right, in terms of Thursday, it is around the £100 mark. For the Saturday market, it's around £40 to £50 each Saturday. That's really down to the fact that we need to employ somebody to do the setting up and taking down of the gazebos, so that's after taking their expenses out of that. But the point I'd like to make is twofold. Firstly, I'd like to thank the town clerk and the staff, plus also Tony, who does the Saturday gazebo setting up and taking down. This is a team effort. This has been successful as a result of a team effort. It's not down to any one person. So both markets are running smoothly. I think we've got systems in place that work. My second observation is this isn't about becoming this is not about making a massive revenue generator. It's about actually using the forecourt in a way that makes it a community. Our Thursdays are brilliant. The amount of people you see some Thursdays between 10 and 11:30, it's really rewarding to see the amount of people there. They're engaging, turning up, having conversations. So it's a go-to place for a number of people. So that's really good. And Saturday, whilst it's to a lesser degree, has also that same feel to it. If we didn't have the forecourt market on Saturdays, the forecourt would be there. So it's not just about counting the pennies. They're important. Should we lose money on it, then it's we'd have a conversation about that. But certainly, what it is doing, it's a place where people go to, and then the side aspect of having an information centre, I think, has been really good as well. You've had opportunity to speak to visitors and locals as well. So, I think all round, at a parish council level, both efforts are really good.
Yeah, following that up, I agree it's not just a revenue building exercise, which puts a question mark against the short-term plan of the Saturday market. Because if that principle applies, that you want to make the forecourt attractive as a social community space, then that applies throughout the year and not just in the summer. So, are there any plans for continuing, and do you think it would work if moving into November and goodness knows February is a really impressive month? Yeah. So, what is right?
Yeah, so the original proposal that was put to the council was on the basis that we would do it during the summer period, we'd reflect come September and take an assessment, and the inputs to that are we happy with it? Are the stallholders happy? And are some indicating they would want to continue? And then we should make a call. It's really interesting because when I look back earlier this week at the proposals that were put by the previous administration in terms of revenue generation forecourts, they were working on a model for the markets of around about 4 to 5 stalls. So if that was their level of success, we're outstripping that. And for me, I think my personal view, because it has to be a council discussion, is so long as the council is viable financially, then why wouldn't we continue doing it, as long as you've got storeholders willing to come, and even if it is only as low as 4 or 5 or 6, it's still a place people can go to. We've got one store, as you probably know, that sells out every Saturday, the bakery. If you just had that turning up on Saturday, lots of residents would appreciate that particular store being there, regardless of any others.
I bought stuff there last Saturday, it's very, very good.
It's lovely.
Quality.
Yes, thank you. Yes, I was being impressed, talking to people on Thursday mornings, how many people come into Sandwich from surrounding towns like Deal, and it's an important attraction to have in the town. So that contributes as well, because they can go and have a coffee and maybe spend a bit of time in the other shops. So I think the fact that it's increasing footfall is important for the town.
Yeah, I agree. I think also having something like this, seeing all the information, the interest that they take in the actual market as well. But I'm just wondering, I was informed that Deal has a waiting list. Is there a way of communicating, or have we done it already for them to maybe send them our way, or share the information with them, the people who are on the waiting list? Because it could still be an issue of lack of awareness.
So, really good suggestion. There are a number of ways in which some of us have tried to tap in elsewhere. There are other opportunities, like, for example, the Gilpin Build farmers market this monthly. I think it's about capacity, in terms of people able to go out and canvass in effect. And the deal market, I think there might be, it's not a very open route at the moment, should we say. So there are ways in which we can do it, and I think with the property manager coming in, subject to all the other things that person may have to do, there may be some opportunity there. And I know that the town clerk is prepared, or is preparing leaflets. If any councillor is really willing to go off to another location, I've mulled it over as well. They get some leaflets and go out and just mail shot people, other storeholders that look appropriate.
Talking of leaflets, I've suggested in the past that you produce a leaflet for all the houses in Sandwich, because I feel the south side of Sandwich, people don't commute to town much. And if we were to leaflet every house, telling them about the Thursday market, Saturday market, and the independent shops, just to try and encourage people to come in, it might have some impact. And I'd be happy to try and draft something.
Just for me, I think the markets are great, and I really think it brings them into the town, and well done. Just following on from what you were saying there, Chair, would it be worth considering trying to incentivise some of the existing shopkeepers to have a market store, and also if you're dropping the leaflets to residents, to see if residents would be interested in having a stall instead of doing a car boot sale?
It's a good thought.
I think the thing is we need to get across the fact that actually the cost of the store, we need to emphasise further that it's only £10 for a store. Because some storeholders come along and find that out. It's a case of a smile, really. So I think, we are really charging a minimum amount with an opportunity for someone to come and do one weekend, for example, or alternative. But we just need to be slightly careful, I suppose, that we don't get it becoming feeling like a boot camp. It's actually got some really good stores at the moment. It's trying to keep it like that. This is exist. Why not? The space.
So I think promotion is very important. The property manager, something will be on his list of things to look at. I was wondering also about the Saturday market, whether that could be extended into the run-up to Christmas. As a kind of Christmas market, whether there would be people who would be willing to, the German style thing perhaps, or mulled wine, or presents, all those kind of people might be willing to certainly for the month of December or even November and December.
Yes, I think that's a great idea. Quite apart from the fact that I love motor wine, I think it would be an asset to the town and it would attract a lot of attention. Yeah.
Yeah.
So all I would say is, if we become over ambitious here, it involves effort. So unless people, having a wide sense, unless people stand up to get involved, we shouldn't form the town clerk and her team to try and go out and market. I mean, I can think of one or two ideas about how we could get an old wine interest, but you could, market manager's role in its truest sense is a full-time job. Nobody in this room is wanting to do that as a full-time job. I don't think we're. Just a word of caution.
I think we should pass a vote of thanks to all those involved in the success of the Thursday and Saturday markets, the staff, the councillors who've been working on this, to Christina especially, who's been doing a huge amount of promotion. So if you're happy to say thank you. Close that.
Yeah, great.
Thank you.
A very quick point of interest, I went to the other wine festival, I was talking to a jewellery store, and she knew of someone, and she was like, oh, you know, London, nowhere near, did a bit locally, and they like to have a Christmas market. But yeah, it was interesting that you think someone randomly
Well, if
had
any of
heard
us,
of it, and she knew the market, and yeah, the Christmas.
if any of us know of any stallholders who might fit the bill, then you know, we should all be active in promoting that. Because it's an opportunity, £10, it's an opportunity to make money.
And I would say some of the stallholders that have come, this has been their first go at being market stallholders, and they've enjoyed it, because I think actually make it a welcoming space. It's not driven like a business in that sense. And we've had new people who are continuing to do their market stalls. So that's great.
I might just say that the craftspeople who used to have stalls in St Peter's no longer have
No.
that facility isn't available. And I have a friend who occasionally has a stall there, who makes absolutely lovely things. So, you know, there may be, and I'm sure there may be concern about things, but community share will be there. So, you know, there are people in the town who could, you know, would welcome the chance to serve things.
I'm tempted to get them to put my face in something.
Yes, well, yeah. I mean, like, you know, all the things suitable for, yeah, that's
Right, anything else on markets? Thank you to all those again involved. Next item is number 8, priorities for the Finance and General Purposes Committee. Town clerk to share the priorities, update for F&GP Committee to debate the priorities and receive a report decision required. This is attachment 4. So any comments on this? I think the yellow items are the updates.
Yes.
Shall we go through these one by one?
No.
Huh?
Yeah.
Did you say no?
Yes.
You said yes.
No, I didn't say.
Sorry, I thought you said
Sorry, carry on.
Okay, item, staffing structure. So just to update you, the property manager role was filled last week. The employee, subject to references, etc., is taking up the post on the 5th of August. Will that say his name?
No, I think not until, because it's a conditional.
Okay, it's conditional. Yeah. And also the role of the assistant clerk was increased from 25 to 30 hours per week. So I think the property manager role is critical to the success of this committee and the council generally, because there are so many issues arising from property management, from the assets work that we'll be doing, the market and vacant properties and so on. So we're going to put in place a good induction programme for this new member of staff. Okay, next one is investigate, purchase and implement a new financial software system. There's a report later on the agenda on this. Improve the presentation of accounts. The RFO invites feedback from the committee for reports and financial presentation from the new software. An item on the July agenda. Any comments on that? It is something that the Finance and Assets Working Group has been looking at, but you're still waiting on some information. Tender for a new IT system and website. The new website's up and running. There are some tweaks to be made. I think the town clerk is intending to find time to look at that over the summer. The review of the contents that take place in August.
I'm enjoying the fact that the website does seem how to be kept up to date. I just wanted to know what the process, how sustainable is that updating process? Is there a single level of staff that takes responsibility for it?
So at the moment, I'm doing the website updating and the assistant clerk and the responsible financial officer.
Okay.
We've spread it across three of us at the moment.
Yeah.
I have set aside time in August because there are tweaks and things that need altering. So I'll spend a lot of time in August doing that. So hopefully then we can be in a position where it is just the day-to-day management and we can make sure that, you know, because at the moment there just isn't capacity for one of us to spend a whole week doing tweaks and things, which is what I'm planning.
I think we can all agree that the current website is much, much better than the old one.
But the one thing I do miss is that with the old one, the Tobish one stuff was kept in a separate section, whereas currently Tobish one seems to be folded up under another heading which isn't intuitive.
Yeah.
So just hoping that.
Yeah. It's under community.
Yes.
Okay, next is explore the relationship between STC and STBF, and that's something that's ongoing through the working group. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'll just give some commentary around this. So the working group, the main focus of what was set up after the first 6 months of it ran was to take a review of both STC and STBF assets. That proved to be a very slow process for a number of reasons, which I think we've covered a number of times. It would be property manager arriving shortly, that should help manage the expectations of this committee and above in terms of making progress. We agreed in May that we were going to extend the working group by another 6 months. But when we had that conversation, I did personally raise some concerns about the challenge that we originally set for the working group in terms of the scope of what we were there to do. And I think the reality is that it's testing in terms of the capacity of those who are on the working group against the challenge of the scope that we've given, that actually we may struggle to deal with all of this on the terms of reference. So what I was going to propose, and there are a couple of working group members here, is that when we next meet, which is in 3 to 4 weeks' time, is that we look again critically at the terms of reference. I think there are a number of things on there that we may well overstretched ourselves in terms of what really we can deliver against within the terms of it being a working group. So we need to think about how we do that. Do we take out 1 or 2 real priority items we want to do, or do we need to come back with a different proposal without the length of the working group's time? Because I think there's quite a lot of work still in there that we continue to look at.
you know, for me, a subset of that work should really go to the property manager when he comes in, type of thing, because we can only take things so far, and then the real ownership of some of those items on an ongoing basis would fall with the property manager. Yes, job description of the floor. So I think, you know, so, and that kind of wraps up the next couple of items as well, on this list of priorities.
Yeah, I think that does lead on to the next item, because possibly one of the things we take out of that is the Guildhall, because it's such a big issue, big topic. And it's not just the lease and whether we can negotiate with DDC about the lease, but also about the building generally, the fees that we charge. You know, we need a root and branch review of fees, because it was suggested recently that the fees are, certainly for things like weddings, are too low, and that a lot of staff time is spent on these, and if we double the fee and had half as many bookings, we'd be, you know, still at the same place. So is that worth thinking about, testing the market? So all these kind of issues we need to look at.
Most importantly for me is the capital budget going forward for major maintenance and replacements and repairs.
Yeah. And we need a proper asset management strategy. Once the property manager's in place, we need to be looking at all of these assets, things like Fishergate, what to do with that, whether we sell or lease certain assets and buy other assets, etc. Because we have missed some opportunities in the town for, you know, improving or increasing our estate. And then we've got the Maddox funds as well to think about. Anything else on that? So review all assets owned by STBF and STC, that's ongoing. Put in place new standing orders in terms of reference for committees. These do still need to be tweaked, I think, because the ones on the website I was looking at, it's still saying, for example, that Monks Hall comes under F&GP, that F&GP has 10 members. Things like
Yeah,
that.
that's part of my updating, yeah.
Okay. I'm happy for that to be left to the town clerk, just to tweak those and bring back any changes, rather than having another working group to look at these things. Otherwise we get ourselves in a muddle.
Yeah, if I could just sort of drill down into that just very quickly. So I think we've adopted in terms of reference, but it was on the proviso that we would do a full discussion within F&GP. So if Jill is going to be doing some tweaking, then I assume then we'll come back to this for this evening, as we do with that last day process.
Yes.
Yeah, in the autumn.
So we're not losing, for me, it's now not losing sight of actually having completed the process.
Okay. Review payroll and consider whether this should be outsourced. That's now being done. Is that going well?
Yes.
Yeah. Health and safety items should be reviewed regularly. Training for staff is now 80% complete, and HR committee have regular reports. There have been numerous items that relate to health and safety issues completed at the Guildhall, and then in-depth reports will be provided by the town clerk to the committee in September. Okay. Funding bids to support STBF assets. That's again ongoing through the working group. I think we were thinking especially about the cinema for that. Deep dive of finance twice a year, that's ongoing through the working group.
Yeah, sorry, can I pick up on that particular one? Because actually, it was me that raised this many months ago. What was in my mind, and if it's been misinterpreted, then I apologise that I haven't clarified. What I was expecting was that the committee, Finance and General Purposes Committee, would, as part of its standard practice, have a deep dive with the finances a couple of times a year. It wasn't a working group action that I envisaged. We do need, I mean, obviously one of the reviews is in preparation for setting the preset and the budget for the next year. And then there's also a second review halfway through the financial year as a committee, knowing where the pluses and minuses were in terms of budget management. So, and when I looked at the terms of reference to working group, it doesn't read across who exists. That's about the working group looking at financial projections, and you touched on one of them, which is about the Guildhall maximising the income for the or deep diving in ongoing finances.
Yeah. So would it be helpful to bring that to the next committee? Because in a way, it's useful to look at these kind of conceptual issues at this time of the year in advance of the budget setting process, so that when we come to the budget, we've had a chance to think about where we are with budgets and the way it's sort of put together.
Yeah, I was going to say, once you obviously get to September, that will be halfway through. Yeah, so, I mean, you won't have all the 6-month position by the time the committee meets in September. So obviously, you have to wait to the end of, we certainly can do the first quarter and where we are for the month or so after that.
Okay.
So for me, I would like to see the committee actually say 2 or 3, go and do a deep dive and report back on their findings to this Finance and General Purposes Committee, because it's one of the things that we've been tasked to do. So we should do that, and we should have a mechanism so that it's known who's actually going to do it. And I'm quite happy to have a look at that. Beyond the want a number of people to do that, but I agree it's not a working group thing. It's something that this committee should take on board, and that we should look at it more and more.
So is that something you and Councillor Carter could bring to the next meeting?
Well, I'd have to speak to Councillor Carter, but I'm just saying, 2 or 3 people to actually do kind of a deep dive on to do a deep dive.
I think could I just interject there in terms of what's the town clerk's view on this? What we're doing on tonight is make it 200% effort versus 100% effort. If you know what I mean by people going in and then let's go through all the books. I just want to make the right fix in the right balance in terms of your resource as well.
Yeah, well, I mean, the thing is that the finances are scrutinised by the auditors. So, we've had an audit already undertaken, but obviously there's a monthly reconciliation process that we're involved in as well, Councillor Green. So maybe that can be picked up as part of the monthly process. When I think you've got to be clear, if you're saying deep dive, I think maybe you want to pick a particular budget stream or something that you want to scrutinise, rather than, because it might end up, occupying a lot of Karen's time.
That's what
You need to, you want to have access to everything about, every invoice and every.
So my interpretation of a deep dive in this context was about saying actually we set a budget at the start of the year, we then get to the 6-month point, and then we have a sensible conversation informed by yourself and Helen in particular about where we are against each of those line items, so we understand that we are making the right progress. It isn't about going through invoices in my view, others can argue against that. It is about saying actually if we've got budget line of X, this is where we are against this budget. Whether there are any unknown issues that we know about, that you know about, that we don't know about, it's just having that conversation rather than just having every month a set of treasurers. That is the level, not saying it.
Because I do think, where public money is being spent, there should be some balancing checks on the actual item where the money has been passed out from the things, because it all follows proper due process and authorisation.
I think it's
Money agreed, goes out.
I think it's that, but it's also a kind of conceptual discussion about the accounts, almost like a zero-sum analysis to say, let's go right back to first principles. And if you have that discussion, then when you come to the budget, it makes the discussions much easier to know what's valuable and what's not valuable.
Well, then maybe what we should be doing is writing through the brief for the deep dive, once the terms of reference.
Yeah.
Deep dive.
Would you be prepared to?
I'm happy to do the deep dive, I'm not going to lie.
Okay.
That's for you guys to do if I'm doing the deep dive.
Thank you. Yeah, I want to come back to your point about it being central. I think we have a responsibility to think long term as well as just looking at the past and making sure that transactions are legal and regular. But we also need to look at maybe at the longer term and make sure that our finances are sound in a longer term perspective.
So the upshot of that discussion is I and or one other will do a brief with the council agreeing to bring forward a deep dive look for the September or October meeting. Yeah, okay.
Right, the exam.
Okay. Right. The other thing I thought on this is, I noticed on the Tollbridge Finance Committee, we have the monthly payment schedule. I think they should also come to this, the SDC one should come to this, because part of the reason for F&GP is that we are in a better position to carry out more detailed scrutiny of those kind of things and it goes straight to council.
I'll speak to Karen about that, because I don't know how that will fit with capacity, but I'll speak to her.
Yeah.
And it is obviously, it's moving the timeline of when she does the STC accounts.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Then the penultimate one was review statutory declarations for AGAR. AGAR process is underway and almost complete. The notice of public rights exercise is open.
Yes.
Period when interested parties can ask to inspect the accounts and records for SDC. The AGAR has been submitted to the external auditors, Mazars LLP. Did that republicise the monthly audit?
Yes, so it's on the website,
Okay.
yeah, and it's on the notice boards.
Okay. And then the last one was annual review of governance. It's ongoing. We've done the complaints ability to get the continuity plan today. The disciplinary and grievance procedures and policies have been approved by HR committee last week. Anything else in that? So are we happy to note?
I would just like to suggest that we look at the terms of reference for this group, because what I've done is I've printed off the terms of reference with all of the different actions and delegations that I've given to this committee, and there are about 30 of them. You know, one of them to identify the need for new services and facilities, or to guide the council in the formulation of its objectives. And I think that as a committee, this is what the town council has asked us to do, and we should be going through this systematically twice or 3 times a year, just to double check that we are actually doing what we've been asked to do.
This is from the terms of reference.
This is for the terms of reference for this committee.
Yeah.
I basically just picked off the delegations, what we have been delegated to do, and there are 30 items on there. So what I would like to do, if I may, I'll send this circulated to everybody on the committee and obviously to the town clerk, and we can give some considerations to it. And I think it's an approach that should be adopted on all committees.
Yeah. I think it's a fair point. Something that was discussed recently was about 2 or 3 years ago, the council had a mission statement and a business plan. So we could be clear what our priorities are. And one of the issues is with the town clerk is various people, councillors coming up with ideas and trying to get things done. And there's no business plan to inform that, so it's a bit random and a bit chaotic. So, whereas if we had a business plan, we could say, sorry, that's not in the business plan. These are the priorities. This is what we have to do. And it would make life easier for the town clerk and her staff, I think, to be able to say, sorry, I can't prioritise that because it's not a business plan item. So I think that's something probably for this committee to take forward for the future years, to say, you know, we're responsible for overall policy and business management, so we should put together a plan to be adopted by the council. Is it still live or?
Which, sorry?
The existing, it was a business plan.
There was, yes. I don't know if it's actually on the website, I couldn't tell you. But basically, what I've been used to, how I used to work, was it was a forward plan, which would be 4 years when the new council formed, and each year we have an action plan from that forward plan, so that it's very clear what those priorities, objectives are, and then obviously the team we fall in and we're working towards those objectives with the councillors. But since I've been here, there's just too much to address at once, and it just is literally, I'm trying to throw as much capacity at it as I can, but I've told you numerous times, you know, there isn't any more, but we've had it, you know, I'm at capacity and everything. And I think that is the issue, that, you know, trying to tackle the day-to-day things that are cropping up, doesn't give you time to then focus on the strategy and the, strategic.
Nevertheless, I think we do have to develop a strategy in order to put our priorities in place, and that should make the life of the staff easier. But what concerns me is we all agree that we need a strategy, we need a document, we need something that everybody, all the councillors and staff, take ownership of. But who's going to take responsibility for doing the first job?
Well, places where I've worked in the past, this would be the board typically having an away day. So you have an away day where you can just talk, you know, Chatham House rules, work out all your, you know, the fundamentals question is, what are we here for?
Yes.
What's our purpose?
Yes.
And then work down to that and decide what the priorities are. It's not rocket science. You can, sure, all of us could write various clauses, but it's a case of making the priorities, prioritising and ranking everything so that we can fit our resources. We're not overburdening the staff with too much.
So, to my observation, that would be that what you would want to do, so if you use the workplace example, you would spend many months ahead of the actual plan being published in terms of generating input material to it. So it's not something you do overnight. My personal view is that the previous plan ran to 2023 under the previous administration. I think we should set our goal to have a 2-year plan that starts from next year. That gives us 6 months to do the work. I think it should be owned by this committee in terms of the drafting. Therefore, it should be transparent. I don't think what we do is go away sunset quietly behind closed doors. It should be open. We've got a number of key people on this committee who can have an input to it. We can all individually think through what we see as those objectives, and we should have it as a session as part of this committee to start the draft process. Somebody can hold a pen if they want to, but I think we have to be open about how we're going to populate that plan.
And I
And
think
it shouldn't be, sorry, I'm just thinking of it, it shouldn't be over ambitious, it shouldn't be overstretching, it should be focused, it should be limited to a small number, rather than what we found is we've got all sorts of ideas, all sorts of pressures that pull on the town clerk and her staff. I think we need to be more focused for the second half of this term.
I guess one of the starting points is the manifestos, if you like, that the various councillors stood on when they were elected, because that's what we promised the people to do. Perhaps we should also consult more widely with the public about what they see are, having been in position for over a year, what they see our priorities are, because their view of what we're doing might be completely different. what we should be doing might be completely different to what we are doing.
Yeah, but we've got a remit in terms of reference to follow, and if we have to set ourselves some objectives, they should be smart, specific, measurable, appropriate, timely, and all of those relevant and timely, all of those types of things. We should set them and have them there. Crack on with it. We're here to, to do things as councillors, not to talk about doing them all the time. Get something there and get on with it. That's what the public will measure us against. Yeah.
Okay, so how should we progress this?
Well, I'll put out the list, and I think it's something, to be quite honest, Mr. Chair, that you should own as the chair of this committee, and everybody should be able to contribute to the document, to put it on Microsoft 365 and have a control version and build on it, and everybody build up their comments and put red flags on as they feel appropriate.
Okay, so if we aim for late autumn to have a draft business case and business plan in place for this committee, which we can then take to the council, which will commence in April next year.
And that would be late autumn is October, November.
October or November.
This is a business plan for the council.
Yes, which we put together, but the council adopts it on our recommendation.
I'd go along with that. In my limited experience, it is quite helpful once you've derived an action plan, say for a year. It does help focus activities, and it's helpful for the staff as well. But I'm up for it.
I think one of the starting points for that is what the public finds valuable about what we do, the markets, the buildings, the toilets, etc. Maybe we need to ask the question, because they probably don't find endless meetings valuable for them.
They have a perception as to what the council does, and this council has got its remit. Part of the remit is the public toilets, so part of the remit is the allotments.
It's not things that the public does that we are in charge of that bottles. I mean, that's the trouble, that there's a whole misconception of what we're responsible for, what we can do. And I think that might, be open it up to full public participation.
It has to be clear about where our responsibility is. Things like planning is official consultation. We have to, we can't escape from that. So we have to do that.
But there was a very helpful table in the notice board outside which said what Dover we're responsible for, what Kentwood we're responsible for, and what we're responsible for. I believe that's on our website, isn't it?
Yes. Okay, so Councillor Green will kick this off, and we'll all contribute.
We can kick that.
Right. Item 9 is Advantage Finance Software update from the RFO. This is a report on the new finance software, including facilities booking and progress to date. The committee is asked to consider any special requests for reporting and to receive and note the report. This is attachment 5. I think it's fair to say there are some issues with the software, which go beyond minor problems. So, if you wish to comment.
I need to say, what I've been saying at quite a few of the meetings, it's been a very challenging period for the team, for me and the RFO in particular. And I know that people's expectations have been tested, because people think that, there should be more progress on things. But we've had the new website, this new software, the booking and finance, training, you know, all sorts of things have come into play. So I can only repeat really what I've said, that it's been a challenging time. I'm looking forward to August when we don't have any meetings.
It's very good. I mean, as a town clerk, part of the justification of the new finance system is going to make life easier for the RFO and free up some of her time. Is that still a realistic benefit that's going to materialise?
I think it will in the long term, but it's just really capacity and how we get there, how quickly we can talk to the software company and make sure that the tweaks to reports would be helpful to everybody, officers and councillors. And it is training on using aspects of this that at the moment there just isn't capacity for that. So again, in the long term it will be beneficial, but it's just, I think people are expecting too much too soon and you know, not being patient to wait for us to get the time to get to grips with it, and really being very frank.
I was going to say these are more than teething issues, are they? Some of them are very serious.
A few questions for me, they feel reassurance around it. So it has 3 or 4 questions. So in the first paragraph, it talks about the RFO, slightly worrying, the RFO's laptop not being failing.
Yeah.
So is that going to be resolved? So this is a practical issue, but it actually influences the success of all of this.
Yes, so it's a refurbished, a new laptop. So I, last week for the RFO, and I'm hoping that we can make use of because basically the colouring on the desktop has failed, and it was giving lots of problems with this software loading. Nobody else experienced it. So we're hoping to be able to re-utilise the laptop for maybe the museum and archive on the others. But there has been a new laptop, the RFO does have a new one.
Okay, so that's a tick.
So does the RFO have a desktop? Or is it?
No, it's a laptop.
I would think that an RFO would need a big, at least 1 or 2 big desktops to be doing accounts. They are present.
So she's got a monitor. She's got a monitor.
Oh, a monitor,
Yes,
that's what I mean.
yeah, sorry. You made a desktop machine now.
No,
She's got a
okay.
monitor and, yeah, a laptop. Yeah.
On the training, it refers to not everybody was available to attend all sessions. Has that now changed? Has everybody that needs to do training done the training session, or just the time lag is quite substantial? So where are we with critical people who haven't done training?
So that's where I talked about the 80%. So there are 1 or 2 training sessions that people still haven't had capacity to do.
Right.
But that is,
Capacity.
it's recording so we can
Yeah.
go back.
Yeah.
But the critical people have the training. Yeah.
On the help desk, I'm slightly worried that Edge IT has such a relaxed way to responding to issues. So do we have an SLA with them in terms of what he talks about? Some issues were logged. They told the finance officer they will add it to a list of fixes that their IT desk will work on. So it all seems a bit vague. So have they got an SLA that they're working to in terms of responding to fixes that we raised?
So this isn't, in terms, it's not really something that's failed. It's where the RFO is asking them if she can have a specific format or
Okay.
of
So
a
it's an
report.
improvement.
Yes,
Personal request.
exactly. So they have a list of these that come from other
Yep.
councils as well.
Yep.
And so they work through, and they do the improvements for everybody. So when you get a request, you go to a list, and I presume that the more people ask for a certain improvement, that's probably the higher priority on the list. But I think we are unique in that we have, the Tonbridge Fund, so I think we are a bit more complex than they used to, to be fair.
So there's no failing on IT, it's just their approach, it's not a priority item, it will go on the list of future fixes. But
Exactly,
they've got enough demand.
exactly.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions, comments? So we're happy to note this report.
And just it does ask if members have any requests for possible changes to the financial reports. Please put suggestions forward. Could I suggest that we have a HR budget report kind of coming out, which covers the whole of the HR training and so forth. And I ask because on the HR committee, one of the responsibilities of the HR committee is to manage the human resources budget, including the training of the members and the staff of the town council. So, you know, that budget should be presented to the HR committee, please.
The other request I would have, I don't know if this is incorporated already, is when we get financial reports with budget, spend to date, etc., that it's made clear, that it highlights the variances. So where the variance is above a certain percentage, for example, either plus or minus, it should be highlighted in either different font colour or by any other means, so that we can see at a glance which the problematic spend areas are. Because at the moment, I think it's often hard to find that.
We're going into the value next. But the most important thing is the forecast.
Yeah.
You know, at the end, I would say you can see the variance in spend, but some things, you know, are not necessarily time related. So you might spend all of your insurance costs at the beginning and the forecast at the end is the same.
Yeah.
But if something is going halfway through, you know, like electricity or a consumable, you need to be able to forecast the overall.
Yeah. A bit like the risk register, where it highlights problem spending in the area, for example. So if the forecast is, you know, more than 10 or 20% above the budget, then you need to know that the area is as safe as possible. Okay, anything else? So we're happy to note that report. All in favour? Next item is date and time of next meeting, 18th of September. Thank you all. That's the end of this committee. Thank you.
I just realised everybody that the live stream is still on, not on the stream.